Have you ever stood at a major crossroads in life, your heart fluttering with new hope but your mind wrestling with countless questions? Perhaps you're considering remarrying after years of being single or after a painful separation. The thought of a companion, a shoulder to lean on in your later years, is certainly appealing. But deep down, you can't help but wonder if it's the right decision. Are you overlooking important things that could affect your future? Sarah, at 65, is facing this very situation. After her beloved husband passed away 3 years ago, Sarah's life became quiet and lonely. Recently, she met John, a widower around her age, at a senior dance club. John is a charming, funny man who seems to understand exactly what Sarah is going through. They quickly grew fond of each other, and after only a few months of dating, John proposed. Sarah's heart fluttered. She loves John, and the thought of having a partner to share life's joys and sorrows with warms her. But alongside the happiness, Sarah can't help but feel anxious. She's used to her independent life, her routines, and her own assets. Would marrying John disrupt the stable life she's built? Would her children accept John? And most importantly, would this decision bring lasting happiness to both of them? Sarah's concerns are not uncommon. Getting married later in life is completely different from when you're young. When you're young, marriage is often the beginning of a shared journey where two people build a future together. But in your senior years, you already have a history, a foundation, and individual responsibilities. Remarrying at this stage comes with its own unique challenges that can affect your finances, relationships, and overall happiness in ways you might not have considered. Whether you've been single for a while, recently divorced, or even widowed, the decision to remarry requires careful consideration. Have you ever thought about remarrying but wondered if you're making the right decision? Marrying later in life is completely different from when you're young, and there are some things people often overlook until it's too late. In this article, we will explore 7 important truths you should know before deciding to remarry after 60. These things could change how you view love, commitment, and long-term security at this stage of your life. Often, people rush into remarriage without thinking about how it might affect their future, and then they face unexpected stress and troubles. But when you have the right knowledge, you can make the best decision for yourself, a decision that brings fulfillment, peace, and stability. Let's explore these 7 things you need to know to help you avoid unnecessary heartache and ensure that any new relationship you start is truly right for you, whether you're thinking about remarrying soon or simply exploring the possibility. You'll want to hear this. Now, let's begin. 1. Financial realities shift after 60, understand and plan. One of the biggest surprises people encounter when remarrying later in life is how it can affect their financial situation. Many assume that getting married again is simply about love and companionship, but the reality is that marriage is also a legal matter with financial commitments. If you're not careful, it can impact your retirement savings, Social Security benefits, pensions, and even what you leave behind for your children or loved ones. The last thing you want is to enter a marriage believing it will make life easier, only to realize later that it has complicated your financial future in ways you never imagined. Think about Social Security benefits. Did you know that remarrying can affect these benefits? Many people don't realize that if you are receiving benefits based on your ex-spouse's work history, those benefits could be reduced or even terminated when you remarry. This can come as a shock, especially if you rely on that income to maintain your lifestyle. Therefore, it's crucial to thoroughly research the regulations related to Social Security benefits and remarriage. Don't hesitate to contact the Social Security Administration to understand your specific situation and that of your future spouse. Similarly, pensions and survivor benefits often come with certain conditions, and many of these conditions cease to apply upon remarriage. If you or your partner are receiving pension payments, carefully review the terms before making a decision. Reviewing all documents related to pensions and benefits is a wise step. If necessary, consult with a financial advisor to understand the potential changes that could occur when you remarry. When you marry, your financial situation is no longer solely your own. It now involves the assets, debts, and spending habits of another person. Even if you and your new spouse keep separate bank accounts, the law can still affect how assets are divided in the event of divorce or death. Therefore, have an open and honest discussion with your future spouse about both of your financial situations. Consider establishing a clear plan for joint or separate finances to avoid misunderstandings later on. And don't forget your loved ones. If you have children or grandchildren, you also need to think about how a new marriage will affect their inheritance. Many people assume they can leave their assets to their children as originally intended, but remarriage often changes the legal rights associated with inheritance. Meeting with a financial advisor or estate planner will help you understand how this impacts your financial situation, your retirement, and the assets you plan to pass on to others. These conversations may not be romantic, but they are essential to protect your future and the future of your loved ones. Take Robert, for example, a 72-year-old who remarried after being widowed. He always assumed his children would inherit his estate, but after remarrying, he realized his new wife had legal rights to his assets. This meant his children might receive less than he originally intended. He had to navigate difficult conversations and legal changes to ensure everyone he cared about was protected. 2. Navigating complex family dynamics, open communication, and understanding. Family relationships can become intricate when you remarry later in life. You're not just merging two lives, you're often blending two entirely different families, each with their own history, traditions, and expectations. While love can certainly bind two people together, family dynamics can introduce a different layer of complexity that's significantly different from younger couples starting out. One of the first things you need to prepare for is how your adult children might react to your new marriage. Even if they want you to be happy, they may struggle with feelings of loyalty to your previous spouse or worry about how this new relationship will affect everything, from family traditions to finances or inheritance. Some may welcome your new partner with open arms, while others may harbor resentment, suspicion, or even concern for your well-being. These feelings are perfectly natural, but if not handled carefully, they can create long-lasting tension, affecting not only your marriage but your entire family. Your decision is about seeking companionship while still cherishing the relationships you've built over the years. Don't forget the relationship with your grandchildren. If you've spent years being a central grandparent figure in their lives, introducing a new partner can feel like a shift. This change might be readily accepted by some, while others may need time to adjust. Be patient and understanding. Gradually introduce your new partner to your grandchildren and create opportunities for them to build a relationship. The same holds true for your new spouse's family, especially if they have their own adult children or grandchildren. Blending traditions and expectations can require patience and understanding from both sides. Make an effort to learn about your partner's family and respect their traditions. Encourage your partner to do the same with your family. Another factor to consider is how remarriage affects inheritance and finances from your children's perspective. It's not uncommon for children to worry that a new spouse might alter existing wills, adjust financial plans, or even receive a portion of the estate they believed was intended for them. While money might not be the primary focus of your new relationship, it's often an underlying concern for family members. Some conflicts arise not out of selfishness, but from children's desire to ensure their parents' legacy is respected as it was originally intended. Take Susan, for example, who at 68, remarried after more than a decade of being single. She assumed her children would be happy for her, but instead, she faced awkward conversations about inheritance, holiday traditions, and even where she would live. Although she knew her children loved her, she quickly realized that the new marriage required open communication and reassurance to maintain family harmony. Be transparent about your financial and estate plans with your children. This can help alleviate anxieties and build trust. 3. Evolving emotional expectations, understanding and adjusting. Relationships look different later in life compared to decades ago when you were younger. Marriage often revolved around building a life together, raising children, buying a home, and establishing careers. But after 60, priorities shift. Marriage isn't necessarily about starting over but about companionship, emotional support, and maintaining independence while sharing your life with someone. This shift in dynamics is something many people don't fully think through before remarrying, and it can lead to unexpected challenges. Perhaps the biggest difference is the level of independence each person brings into the marriage. When you're in your 60s, 70s, or beyond, you've already established routines, habits, and a way of life that suits you. You might have your own home, individual hobbies, and a daily rhythm that makes you comfortable. A new marriage will introduce another person's routines, lifestyle, preferences, and expectations into your life, and adjusting isn't always easy. Some expect remarriage to be as simple as finding the right partner truly requires careful consideration of boundaries, personal space, and individual identity. Therefore, have an open discussion about both of your needs and expectations regarding the level of independence and personal space within the relationship. Unlike younger couples who are often building financial stability together, later life marriages often involve two individuals who are already financially secure and emotionally independent, which means their reasons for coming together are different. Love, companionship, and shared experiences become more important than external achievements. However, this also means that both partners need to be clear about their expectations, how much time they want to spend together, how they will handle disagreements, and how they will maintain their individual identities while still nurturing the relationship. Be clear about your priorities and expectations in the relationship at this stage of your life. Another factor to consider is past emotional experiences. If you've lost a spouse or gone through a difficult divorce, those memories and emotions don't simply vanish when you remarry. You and your new partner both bring decades of history from previous relationships, family connections, and deeply ingrained perspectives on love and commitment. Be open about your emotions, be patient, and be understanding. Learning how to navigate differences in communication styles, expressions of affection, and conflict resolution that might be influenced by past experiences is key to a successful second marriage. Take Harold, for example, who at 75 found love again after being widowed for many years. But what he didn't anticipate was how different this new relationship was from his first marriage. His late wife had been an integral part of his life, his partner for decades, and their dynamic as a couple was deeply ingrained. Meanwhile, his new wife had been divorced for years and highly valued her independence, something he hadn't encountered before. They needed time to find their rhythm, to balance closeness with personal space, to communicate without comparing to the past, and to fully embrace the unique aspects of their marriage. 4. The increased importance of legal matters. Prepare thoroughly. Marriage isn't just an emotional commitment, it's also a legal contract, and when you remarry after 60, these legal matters become even more significant. Many aspects of the marriage contract can be far more complex than they were when you were younger. Many people think that love is all you need to sustain a marriage, but failing to understand the legal implications can lead to unexpected consequences down the road. One of the first things you should consider is how remarriage affects your estate plan. When you marry your partner, you automatically gain certain legal rights to their assets, even if your intention is to leave everything to your children, grandchildren, or other loved ones without a clear plan in place. Your assets could be distributed in ways you never intended. Therefore, update your will or create a trust before remarrying to ensure your assets are distributed according to your wishes. Another crucial legal factor is medical decision-making. If you become ill or incapacitated, who will have the legal authority to make medical decisions on your behalf? In many cases, your spouse will have priority over adult children or other family members. This could cause tension, especially if your new spouse and your children have different opinions on your care. Establishing advance directives or a medical power of attorney can clarify your wishes and prevent potential conflicts before they arise. Prenuptial agreements are also another vital tool. While some people shy away from discussing prenuptial agreements because they worry it might seem unromantic, in reality, it can help prevent misunderstandings and ensure that both parties enter the marriage with clear expectations. Consider drafting a well-structured prenuptial agreement that outlines how assets, debts, and financial responsibilities will be handled, minimizing the risk of disputes later on. Take Eleanor, for example, who at 67 was in love and excited about remarrying, but she also had significant assets she wanted to leave to her children. She and her fiancé had an honest conversation and decided to draft a clear prenuptial agreement that defined their financial boundaries. This not only gave her peace of mind but also assured her children that their inheritance was protected. These legal matters aren't always easy to talk about, but if you're considering remarriage, they are essential. Sit down with a lawyer specializing in estate planning and family law. Discussing these things early can help avoid confusion and stress later. 5. Redefining happiness in later life. Understand your true desires. As we get older, our perspective on happiness often shifts. When you're young, getting married often symbolizes building a future, raising a family, establishing financial stability, or creating a life together from scratch. But after 60, happiness is less about building and more about maintaining, enjoying, and finding contentment in the life you've already created. This means that before remarrying, you need to ask yourself if this relationship aligns with the kind of happiness you truly want at this stage of your life. Many assume that getting married again will automatically bring them joy, but the reality is that happiness in later years often comes from different sources than it did before. One of the biggest mistakes people make when remarrying after 60 is expecting that love will automatically erase loneliness. While companionship is wonderful, it's also important to recognize that personal happiness must come from within. If you're not happy with yourself, marriage isn't likely to change that. In fact, if you enter a marriage expecting it to complete you, you might find yourself disappointed, especially if the reality of living together brings more pressure than you anticipated. Therefore, focus on finding personal happiness first. Marriage can be a wonderful addition, but it's not a sole solution for loneliness. Another thing to pay attention to is lifestyle compatibility at this stage. Your life has probably developed very clear routines about how you spend your mornings, how you like to travel, and even how you manage your social life. If your new partner has a completely different lifestyle, it could lead to conflict rather than happiness. Discuss your daily routines and lifestyle with your potential spouse. Consider how much you're willing to adjust and whether those adjustments will ultimately make you happier. Take Frank, for example, who at 72, met someone wonderful and quickly remarried, believing the companionship would fill the void from his previous marriage. But over time, he realized his new wife had very different expectations. She wanted to travel frequently while he preferred to stay home. She was very social, while he cherished his quiet time. Although they cared for each other, they often struggled to find common ground, and Frank often felt like he had lost some of the freedom and comfort he had valued in his single years. Before you remarry, take some time to think about what truly makes you happy. Do you want a traditional marriage where you share everything, or do you prefer a companionate relationship with individual space? Are you happier living separately but maintaining a committed relationship? There's no right or wrong answer, only what's best for you. The most important thing is to ensure that any decision you make supports your long-term happiness and doesn't disrupt the peace and contentment you've built in your life. 6. Prioritizing health and well-being, open discussions and support plans. As we age, health and well-being naturally become top priorities. Remarrying after 60 means you're embarking on a shared journey where both you and your partner may face health challenges. It's crucial to have open and honest conversations about your current health conditions, potential future health concerns, and how you envision supporting each other through those times. Before getting married, discuss openly any health conditions you or your partner may have. This includes chronic illnesses, medical history, and current medications. Also, while the future is unpredictable, discussing how you will handle potential health issues is wise. This includes considering long-term care, who will be the primary caregiver, and your preferences for medical treatment. Your lifestyle and health habits can also significantly impact the relationship. Discuss exercise routines, dietary preferences, and attitudes towards wellness. Try to find common ground and support each other's health goals. Furthermore, don't forget emotional support. Discuss how you typically cope with stress and illness and how you can best support each other emotionally. Finally, discuss your preferences for long-term care options, such as in-home care or assisted living facilities. Take Margaret, a 65-year-old who was hesitant about remarrying after her first husband passed away from a long illness. She was worried about the burden of caregiving. However, when she met Tom, a 70-year-old, they had an open conversation about their health and made plans together for the future. 7. Lifestyle compatibility and shared interests, finding joy and connection. While emotional connection and support are vital, having compatible lifestyles and shared interests becomes particularly important in later life. After 60, you likely have established routines, hobbies, and ways of spending your free time. Finding a partner whose lifestyle aligns with yours and with whom you share common interests can greatly enhance your happiness and strengthen your relationship. Discuss your daily routines and habits openly. Explore each other's hobbies and passions. Seek out activities that you both enjoy. Also, discuss your expectations for social activities and how you envision spending time with others as a couple. It's important to maintain a balance between time spent together and individual time. Respect each other's personal interests. And don't be afraid to try new things that your partner enjoys and find common ground in activities you can explore together. Take Richard, a 68-year-old avid golfer. When he met Carol, a 62-year-old, they discovered a shared love for hiking and attending cultural events. They found joy and connection through these shared activities, making an informed decision for lasting happiness. As we conclude this article, take a moment to reflect on what we've discussed. The decision to remarry after 60 is a significant one, and equipping yourself with the necessary knowledge is crucial. These 7 things to consider, from financial realities to family dynamics, emotional expectations, legal matters, your personal definition of happiness, health, and lifestyle compatibility, are all key factors to carefully weigh before you make your decision. Are you still feeling some of the uncertainty Sarah felt at the beginning of our story? Hopefully, this information has given you a clearer perspective on the challenges and opportunities of remarrying after 60. There's no right or wrong answer for everyone. The most important thing is that you make a decision that feels right for you and your future spouse, a decision based on understanding, respect, and genuine love. Remember, this stage of life is about enjoying what brings you true happiness and peace. Don't hesitate to seek advice from professionals, have open conversations with your loved ones, and listen to your heart. Wishing you all the best in finding complete happiness in the next chapter of your life.